Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining me today. First things first, if you are new to the channel or if you haven't done it yet, please like and subscribe. It really helps me out, allows me to continue to do what I love, and bring you more content that you love. So, today we're going to go over our tight end, our defense rankings. We're going to go over the top 15 tight ends and then the top 12 defenses to make sure that you guys are as prepared as you can be so you can dominate this weekend. Without further ado, let's get into the tight end rankings. The top spot here, and possibly forever, is Travis Kelce. He goes on the road against a #1 Phillies passing defense. Now, for Kelce, he hasn't finished outside the top 4 in any given week. His targets have actually increased every week so far, and that's obviously slightly because of the decrease in action that Tyreek Hill has got. Now, Kelce has back-to-back 100-yard performances and is averaging a touchdown and 94 yards. He is a stud. At number 2, we have Darren Waller, the baller. He goes on the road to face the Chargers. This is a decent matchup here, and Waller is looking to bounce back after his worst output of the season last week, finishing as tight end 14. Now, he's seeing 11 targets a game and should dominate against LA. Finding himself in the top 3, even after a dud performance last week, is TJ Hawkinson. Now, he goes on the road to Soldier Field to face a tough Chicago Bears D, which is top 10, against tight ends. Now, Hawkinson still has 2 top 3 tight end finishes, and he should offer a solid security blanket against this Bears defense. He has 2 touchdowns and 173 yards on the year. George Kittle finds himself at number 4 and is dealing with a calf injury. He gets the Seahawks this week. He is yet to score, but this might be the week that he does against the Hawks, who allowed Tyler Gronklin to go absolutely off. He has 9 targets last week, and that matched his total of the year going into that game, so his production should increase as he sees a larger target share. Making his way into our top 5 is Mark Andrews, who goes on the road to face a top 3 Denver defense. Now, he finished tight end 6 last week, putting up 109 yards and catching 5 of his 7 targets. The tight end options are thin here, which is why he finds himself so high, and I think more passes are going to continue to come his way, with Hollywood Brown potentially not being able to catch anything. At number 6, we have Rob Gronkowski. Now, this is obviously before he was moved to doubtful on the injury report. Keep a very close eye on him. There is a slight possibility he could still play, but I would say have a backup plan in place as Gronk is now trending downward. Logan Thomas finds himself at number 7. He comes in with 117 receiving yards and 2 touchdowns on the year. Now, he goes on the road to face a bottom 7 Falcons defense, which gives him some boom potential. He has finishes this season of tight end 8, tight end 10, and tight end 13, which make him a bankable floor play. At number 8, it's the rookie out of Florida, Kyle Pitts. Now, he goes to Washington, and he gets to face a team that is giving up over 12.5 points a game to tight ends. He's averaging 6 targets and almost 50 yards. He's yet to score, however, and I think this might be the week because Russell Gage is out and there are no other pass catchers of note outside of Calvin Ridley. Our 9th player for week 4 is Tyler Higbee, fresh off a big game against the Bucs where he had 40 yards and a touchdown. He gets Arizona this week, so you don't hate the matchup, and he has been a top 10 finisher in 2 out of his 3 games. The only thing holding him back is the target share. If he sees targets, he produces. Noah Fant falls into the last spot in our top 10, and he gets a good matchup with Baltimore. Now, he was shut down last week against the Jets after having 2 top 7 finishes. His targets have declined every week, which is slightly concerning, but this is a prime get-right game against the worst tight end defense in the entire NFL. As we head outside of the top 10, it starts to get a little thin as far as bankable consistency, efficiency, and target share. So you take this with a grain of salt, but we have Jared Cook here at 11. He gets the Raiders. Now they are a top 12 defense against tight ends, but Cook has a decent floor, having no less than 27 yards in any game. He has 111 yards on the season. Dallas Goedert is our final TE1 at number 12, and he gets a Kansas City Chiefs defense that is allowing over 13 points per game to tight ends. He had 2 catches for 66 yards last week. The Eagles are going to need to score here to keep up with the Chiefs, so I expect Goddard to get opportunities in this game. At 13, we have Mr. Boomer Bust himself, Robert Tonyan, who gets Pittsburgh at home. Now, in his great game, he was 3 of 3 on targets and receptions for 52 yards and a touchdown. In his other 2 games combined, he had 5 targets, caught 3 of them, and had a total of 14 yards. So we like the upside in the Green Bay offense, but dang, tight end gets scarce quick. At number 14, we find Mike Gesicki. Now, he's bounced back really well after a goose egg in week 1. They're at home against the Colts, who happen to be a top 10 defense against tight ends. However, Mike's targets have increased every week. He had 12 last week against Vegas and finished as the tight end 3. He has 127 yards in his last 2 games. The last player here on our list is Tyler Conklin, the Minnesota Viking. Now, he's coming fresh off a monster performance against the Seahawks, where he saw 8 targets and caught 7 balls for 70 yards and a touchdown. He's averaging over 5 targets a game, which you certainly like, but he's also dealing with a few injuries. So once again, a player we want to monitor going into the weekend. A few notable omissions for us are Dawson Knox. He gets a Houston defense who hasn't been able to stop anyone, and he has back-to-back touchdowns. So if you are desperate for a play, he could definitely be an option for you. Hunter Henry isn't the worst option in the world as well, because they face one of the worst passing defenses in the entire NFL in Tampa Bay. And finally, Dalton Schultz gets a really tough defense in the Carolina Panthers. If you guys have any start-sit questions or are just battling between which player to start, please drop those down below. I would love to get back to you and help you out. And now, let's move into this week's defenses. Our number 1 defense of the week is the Buffalo Bills facing the Houston Texans. The Bills have back-to-back top 12 finishes, and the Texans are starting Davis Mills. Yeah, enough said. At number 2, it's the New Orleans Saints defense. They get the Giants this week. Now, the Saints have finished top 2 in 2 out of 3 weeks, so you love that. Daniel Jones has a propensity to turn the ball over, and so we'll take this matchup. At number 3, we have the Tampa Bay Bucks defense. They go on the road to face the Patriots in Foxborough. Now, Mac Jones so far has been not good, and I think the defense gets in on the revenge tour. At 4, I like the Tennessee Titans defense against the Jets. Now, the Zach attack here has been not so great either. He hasn't really shown that he can compete, and also Jets. Rounding out our top 5 are the Indianapolis Colts defense. They get Miami. Now, Indy is desperate for a win, and they certainly can't let Jacoby Brissett beat them. Can they? We have the Washington football team's defense as our number 6 pick. They have the Falcons. Now, this feels like the game where they start getting on track to what they were supposed to be. And if not now for this defense, then when? Our number 7 defense is the Chicago Bears, and they face the Lions. Now, we know Chicago can't really score, and I think their defense knows that too, so I think they step up and help that offense out. Now, the Lions offense isn't scaring anyone either. I think this might be a low-scoring affair, and I like the defense here. As we go further and further down the rankings here, it starts to get thin quick. So at 8, I have the Packers against the Steelers. I don't love it, but Big Ben is currently trying to throw with a noodle. And so I don't think that they're going to be able to do enough to make the Packers defense a bad start. Our 9th team is the Miami Dolphins defense against the Colts. And this one is pretty simple. The Colts offense has looked nearly as bad as Carson Wentz's ankles. The final team in our top 10 is the Denver Broncos against the Ravens. Now, their strategy might be to let Lamar run one in so he can do another self-damaging flip in the end zone perhaps. And the Ravens didn't really look good at all against Detroit last week. At number 11, we have the Dallas Cowboys coming in. They face the Carolina Panthers. And Dallas actually has 3 finishes in the top 12 as a defense, including the 5th best performance overall last week. We don't really know what Carolina's offense is going to look like without CMC, so this is a decent option. And we'll just swap sides for our final spot here at 12 and say the Panthers defense against the Cowboys. Now, I know the Cowboys have a high-scoring offense, but the Panthers defense has 3 finishes in the top 10. They may rise to the occasion. Our 2 notable omissions here are teams that are just facing high-powered offenses, and that's going to be the Los Angeles Rams facing the Cardinals and the Cleveland Browns against my Minnesota Vikings. That's all I got for you guys. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you're new, if you haven't done it yet, please like and subscribe. It really helps me out, and I greatly appreciate it. Thank you for watching Relentless Press.